defection of politicians between political parties. The All Progressive Congress APC seems to have resolved the controversy about its zoning agreement, as the state governor, Ben Ayade, stated that the rotational principle in the state would be retained. On the part of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, its state chairman, Vinicius Ikem, disclosed that the party will decide on where to zone its governorship ticket to at the appropriate time. In addition, stakeholders in Cross River State have published the Calabar Declaration, advocating for power to return to the southern part of the state. Well, joining us to discuss this is the All Progressive Congress chairman in the state. I'm talking about Alphonsus Eba. Thank you very much, Mr. Eba, for joining us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Good evening, Nigerians.
All right. Also to be joining us later will be the People's Democratic Party state chairman, Mr. Vinicius Ikem. But I'm going to start with you, Mr. Eba. Let us look at the issue because, of course, you are the party chairman and you are the ruling party in Cross River State. We have heard that the governor has said that the zoning and the rotational government will stand. Is this the position of every single person within the APC, or are there people who are against it?
Thank you. To answer your question directly, congruity of opinion does not exist in human life. When a question is asked in a gathering of about 10, is everybody in support of this? You will find at least a dissenting voice. So to say whether everybody in Cross River State agrees with the issue of zoning as postulated by His Excellency and several opinion leaders in Cross River State, I will only answer you by saying that majority of Cross Riverians are in agreement with that position. I sit down here as Alphonsus Oga Eba Esquire, not first as a decision of the party yet, but as Alphonsus Oga Eba Esquire, I believe in zoning because I am a product of zoning. And because my whole political life from 1999, when this republic started, zoning was an integral part of the party where I belong, and zoning also exists in the party where I am now. So, to say and to answer your question, majority of Cross Riverians are in agreement with the position of the governor for power to rotate among the 3 senatorial districts. And for 2023, that position, that power should go to the south, stands very popular and acceptable by almost all, except a few who may have their good reasons based on perhaps their own ambition too.
There are a lot of people who are saying that the APC is towing the line of zoning because they want to retain the seat of the governor, being that recently the governor moved from the PDP to the APC, and of course he does not want to lose that power that he has over, the governorship seat, and of course the power that he has in the state, being that the state is led by the APC as we speak. Is there any truth to that?
The decision of the governor calls only a reflection of who the governor is, a man of integrity, a man of fidelity. I recall in 2019, I was among the team of His Excellency that went before the Southern Senatorial District leaders, called the Seven Alive Movement. We had that meeting in High Chief Etienne Asuko Ekpenyong's house. The who is who in the politics of Cross River State from the south, across party lines, gathered, and the governor made a statement that in his own view, he is here before the Southern Senatorial District to ask for their support to enable him complete his remaining 4 years tenure, so that at the end of 2023, power will return back to the south. Knowing that in 1999, His Excellency Donald Duke was governor till 2007. And in 2007 to 2015, His Excellency Senator Lee Elimoke was governor. And now that he has been governor from 2015 to expire in 2023, power ordinary should return to where it starts. To him, that is an ordinary, natural, free flow, because it is not just about rotation. The consideration of a senatorial district, which has waited for 16 years, should know that after 16 years, power will come to my district. To us, what that has achieved is that it has kept political harmony in Cross River State. It has reduced social and political tension. It has reduced financial recklessness, because you do not need to jump into the contest when you know that a time for you will come. Like people were saying, that this thing can start from the north, knowing that everybody has had it. And somebody asked me, you are one person the governor likes so much. He stood by you to become state chairman of party. Don't you think it's an opportunity for you to accept that so I can start from you?
Okay.
I say, if there's anything I have learned from the governor, in addition to my natural innate, is not to be greedy. It's not to be selfish. I would not accept, even if the governorship ticket is thrown on me, the natural thing is I should go back to the south. Okay. And I think that is the position that is popular. It has to do with the fidelity of the governor and not setting sentimental interest or political underlinings, as you have just asserted.
Okay. Well, we're being joined by the PDP state chairman in Cross River, Mr. Venantius Ikem. Mr. Ikem, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Ikem, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'd like to hear from the PDP on the issue of zoning, being that there's been some, a lot of people within the party. In fact, the party has been divided between two different people on the issue of zoning. Where does the PDP in Cross River State stand as to the power shift come 2023? Is zoning on the table, or is it to be jettisoned, as some politicians within the party have said?
I'm struggling. Hello? I'm hearing very well, but at least I could hear you say things like zoning and whether it's on the table.
Yes.
I think I can just say that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
For us, everything is on the table, but it remains that we have not been practicing zoning in that sense in which you are saying when we are starting, we must get it to any particular people. That's not what we did before, and that's not what we're about to do. But again, it's subject to the decisions of the appropriate.
Mr. Ikem, I think that we're having connection issues with you. Can you again say what you just said? You're saying that you have not necessarily practiced zoning in the sense that we are looking at it from. What sense do you think that we're looking at it from, and what kind of zoning has the PDP in Cross River State been practicing?
That who practices it?
Well, I'm asking, you said you're not practicing zoning, or rather you're not looking at zoning the way we're looking at it. So I'm asking, what type of zoning has the PDP in Cross River been doing?
Yeah. What we have been doing is that after every election, when a candidate emerges from a particular zone, we eliminate that zone for the next election. That's how we arrived at a point where we're able to do each zone for 8 years to where we are. And I think that it worked for us. So there shouldn't be any apprehension about whether we are now throwing away zoning or not. So that's the sense in which we applied zoning. We never sat down at any point and said, this time when he said he's going to the south, the next time he's going to central, and then the last time he came to the north. No, that's not what happened. Donald won and defeated Kanu Agabi in a fair and free primaries, went ahead to win the elections. He served 2 terms. Senator Imoke contested with Walter Energy, who was deputy to Donald Duke, and from the north, he defeated him and he became. And there was only the north left. So it was only fair to say, okay, the north. There was no point for anybody to contest with the North. So that's the sense in which I mean that we have been practicing zoning. So if, for instance, we go for the next round and a candidate emerges from the South or maybe from Central, because the North is actually not in the race, we can now say, okay, that South or North, or Central that took it this time has been eliminated. We are going for the next round. Then there will be two to contest. If they contest and one again wins, that one is eliminated. Then there will remain only one. And then there will be no need for anybody to contest with them. So that's the point, this and sense in which we practice zoning. We are going to disenfranchise anybody from zoning is not the sense in which we understand it. Okay. But again, every party can practice it the way that it understands.
All right, you were quoted to say that zoning, that Governor Ayade, apparently because the governor has taken a position on the issue of zoning, and he's saying that ticket needs to go to the South. You were quoted to say that his position was unrealistic, and he was not being realistic with the issue of zoning, as opposed to what you have just said to me, that whoever wins is practically eliminated, and that's how the turns are being taken. But this is being opposed by so many people, and this has led to the Calabar Declaration, where they're saying parties who are not going to field candidates from the South will not get any bulk votes. What's your reaction to that?
Honestly, I'm struggling to hear you.
But did you hear me when I said what I said about the Calabar Declaration? The fact that these people have said, or they've come to an agreement, and these are people who are from the southern senatorial districts, most especially politicians. They're saying a bulk vote will not be given to a political party who does not field a candidate from the southern senatorial district.
I'm not in APC. I don't know whether you're talking about APC.
I'm talking about the Calabar Declaration. These are people from the southern senatorial districts, whether APC or PDP.
The people of Calabar are entitled to agitate for what they want, agitate for their interest. And they're entitled to that, absolutely. It's democracy. Even the people from the north, where they come from, are entitled to agitate if they want. Now, when the delegates are approaching that, it remains for them to be influenced by those agitations or the sense in which they are preaching their equity or whatever you call it. Now, you cannot, for instance, like what the governor said, like an emperor, pronounce from the beginning that you have zoned to the south, thereby disenfranchising everyone who may have had an interest to contest. That is the antithesis of democracy. People should have a right to choose. They can even decide to choose from where the present governor comes from, because it's democracy. It has happened elsewhere in Nigeria, and nothing says it can happen anywhere else. So I don't understand this hanging onto the strings of zoning in democracy. It doesn't work that way.
Interesting. Now, there are also people who have said that both the APC, the PDP are taking these stands, and the different stands that your parties are taking is because of selfish reasons and not necessarily in a democratic way that would benefit the average Kosovari. That's not me speaking. But let me push you first, Mr. Ikem, before I go back to Mr. Eba. You have said, or people have quoted to say that, have been quoted to say that the reason why the PDP is taking this stand is because there is a certain candidate that they want to favor within the party.
No, absolutely no, that's not correct. The position I have consistently advocated on the state executive is that we will provide a level playing field for everybody who wants to aspire and who wants to contest. And that is not only for the governorship election. That goes for all elective positions. That is our position. Except until such a time that, like I said, if the appropriate organs of a party decide that we can formulate an alternative strategy that could win us the election, fine and good. But through our 22 or so year history, through the 3 cycles of elections we have had, we have always contested, except the last one when only the Northern Senatorial District was left. That is our history. You can go to the records and check it. So I don't know why we are suddenly trying to change the rules of the game. Maybe because we are afraid of a certain candidate in the race. But I don't see why we should be unnecessarily
Who's that certain candidate that would be more? I'm trying to understand. Are you trying to say that there are candidates within the Southern Senatorial District that are not good enough to run the state?
No,
is there a very special person within the party that everyone should be afraid of?
I'm saying that the electorate will decide on the basis of whatever criteria they choose to elect a candidate for the party as flag bearer. But what baffles me is that we are not challenging this when we talk about every other election, because this goes for all elections. We have people who are serving 5 terms in the National Assembly, 3 terms in the National Assembly. All these decisions too are subject to zoning, but they conveniently remember zoning only with respect to the governorship.
Mr. Kim, are you still there? I'm going to throw this back to the APC state chairman. Mr. Eba, are you still there? Let's throw back this to you. You've heard everything that the PDP state chairman has said concerning the party, that the governor is acting like an emperor and deciding to dictate what should be the modus operandi in picking who should run as governor across boards.
It is unfortunate when an adult goes berserk by expressing his verbal dissent. Who is acting like an emperor? Anyway, it's not surprising because Venantius Ikem was bought for a price to come and spew such kind of gibberish on national television.
You're making allegations that we do not have proof to. Were you in the room where he was bought for a price, and what price was he bought for?
I do not know why you should call a governor who only wanted to rely and stand by what he said in 2019 to be called an emperor. If there's any emperor, it's the governor that bought him for a price from Rivers State, and he should know that very well. But to the question of what we are saying, Section 7 of the PDP Constitution is very clear on the issue of zoning. Article 21, Roman figure 4 of the APC Constitution is clear on zoning. Section 14, subsection 3 of the Constitution of Nigeria is clear on the issue of federal character. My dear sister, you can only place something on something, and that is when it will stand. If you come by the sentiments that does not hold water, you are bound to give this kind of falsity and phantasmagorical issues like the young man has explained. In 2014-2015 in Cross River State, PDP agreed on the issue of zoning. That was because the other 2 senatorial districts had previously produced governors for the state. And
you're speaking because you used to be a member of the PDP?
I was a member of the PDP.
Great.
And I cannot sit down on national television and tell the kind of lies that man is saying, but it's not surprising because when you are lacking in character, that is what you do.
Just do not try to attack his personality, and let's
I'm not attacking. He called my governor an emperor. A man without character should not sit on national television and call a governor an emperor, because we know who the emperor is in this country, and that is Governor Wike. So he should not sit on national television and call my governor an emperor.
Well, Governor Wike, the last time I checked, Governor Wike is the governor of River State and not the governor of Cross River.
That is the man that bought him. That is the man that bought him.
Hold on, Mr. Eba. Just hold on. Hold on, Mr. Eba. Let me bring in Venantius, because you're making claims that Go ahead, Mr. Ikem. I'd like to hear from Venantius, because you made an allegation that the governor of another state is controlling the PDP in Cross River.
Yeah, you don't know anything about it. about running a political party. What position have you ever held in a
No,
political party
Mr.
before?
Kim, hold on.
You haven't
I
ever
need you to
done anything in a
respond.
political
No,
party. So
no
you don't know what you're
attacking.
talking about.
Hold on. I need you
If
to
you want me
respond to
teach
those
you
claims.
what federal character, zoning, and all that means, you're not saying, you're not making any sense.
I'm sure you were trying to talk to me, not Benash Ezekiel. Let me answer what you asked me, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kim. Can you hear me? I want to ask again. He's saying, Mr. Kim, can you listen to me? I want to ask you the question again in case you didn't hear me. He's claiming that your party is being run by the governor of another state, and I find that claim as spurious as anything else. But then I want to hear from you why a member of the APC, in fact, the party chairman of the APC in your state, would be presuming or making such an assumption on national TV that Governor Wike is running the PDP in Cross River State. Mr. Kim, can you hear me?
Is that for me?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I'll take it again. Please listen. He has said that your party is being run by the governor of River State. And he's saying that you have been bought for a price by that same governor. I find that very disturbing, but I'd like to hear from you.
You see, I don't want to dignify such uncouth talk with any response. If a governor attends an event, a political party event in a state, that means he's running a party in that state. That's why I say the man does not know anything about how parties function or how they operated. They run their worship of governor, worship of personalities in what they call loyalty. That is not what we call democracy. That is why they will run away from PDP to wherever they conquer. For us who stayed back in PDP, we are Democrats. If they could run away from PDP, like he was my contender for this position, they had to run away with the governor to go and capture another party. What we have in PDP Cross River State is robust democracy. As we speak, they don't even allow aspirants to come out to contest elections on their platform. The only viable platform, robust elections, contestations are going on is the PDP in Cross River State, because we have allowed a level playing field for everybody to contest. While they sit there and wait for their emperor to dictate to them when to do and where to zone what, we are abusing with the people, allowing everybody to contest so that he can get the support of party members across the state. That is how democracies are run. That is how democratic parties are run.
Okay. Let's move away from the issue of zoning now. Mr. Eba, this question is for you. There was a youth summit that held in the state over the weekend. It was a very big event. But then, of course, you got a lot of people talking. When we saw the advertorial for that event, it was Cross River Youth Summit. But then many people who would have loved to attend the event saw the APC plastered all over the event venue, the stage. We saw people dressed in uniforms with Ayade and talking about the APC. So I just want you to clarify, was that an APC Youth Summit or was it a Cross River State Youth Summit? Please explain to us what that was.
Is that for me?
No, it's for Mr. Eba.
A ruling party. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
When a ruling party is in a state and you have under...
Mr. Eba, are you still there? I think we have a connection issue.
Do not operate on...
Mr. Eba, are you still there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
We lost you for a second. Not necessarily members of the APC who wanted to attend to take a step back. Do you care to comment?
Well, those are some of the misinformation and disgraceful things they are doing in the state out of desperation to sustain their very failing party. They claim that they had a Cross River State Youth Summit. When we decided to have our own event, which was a flag of they now decided that what they had was an APC occasion was actually a bipartisan, multi-partisan occasion. How did it become an APC summit? So I'm sure that you watch with dismay as they try to turn what was a cross-river youth summit into suddenly becoming an APC summit. But the whole idea was orchestrated to make it look like a party event so that they could stop PDP from holding their flag-up rally that was built for us from doing our rally. And we had a massively attended, successful rally. And today, their problem now is that His Excellency Governor Wike, who was invited, attended, and presented flags to our flag bearers. To them, that means Wike is running Cross River State. It's a shame.
Well, there are people who wondered also why a governor would be at a local government congress where it was not necessarily a state primary or anything. They were wondering why there was a governor at that event. Why was Governor Wike even there in the first instance? Out of curiosity.
The election is critical to us. You know the circumstance of the party in Cross River State. A party that has won all its major elections and only made a mistake, a sad mistake, Steve character as his governor, and then he runs away with our mandate. We're working hard and doing everything possible to reclaim our state. The language for us is reclaiming Cross River State. And so,
so reclaiming Cross River State, you could not do that with the past two governors you had, the former Governor Donald Duke, Senator Leo Limokwe, and other PDP stalwarts. You needed a governor. Yes, I know. I know.
He had something else doing.
I know, but I'm saying, why did you need a state governor at that event? What statement were you trying to make with that state governor?
Always been sympathetic to us, and this is South Zone. He has been inviting people to River State from across the country to commission projects. Are you not aware? When did this country become divided such that you cannot go to attend a political event in another state or zone? I don't understand what that means.
Interesting.
He was not the only one expected. We were expecting Governor Trump. If you look at our invitations, look at our billboards and platforms, we're expecting Governor Trump. We're expecting Governor Trump.
So I asked you a question. Wonder people who would have wanted to be part of